awesome. I guess hopefully no sound there. This is the second time. Oh man. Oh, okay, awesome. So I've been sitting here for 13 minutes. So thank you, everybody. So hopefully, Garrett, if you're watching this, does it sound good? I had the other mic, so God, we gotta love it. Technology. Thank you. So I'll start all over again. Shit, I don't even know what I was talking about. Man, so today, excited in regards to Two Native Sons. I'll start all over again. So when 13 minutes, people are like, what the hell is going on here? It's all good. You got to love technology, roll with punch and perfect action and whatnot. But excited just because things that are growing for Two Native Sons. First, want to give a shout out. Yep, here we go again. So the let's go, we all know that's my favorite saying. Let's go. That design right there is done by Patrick Massey. Great friend of ours, great graphic design artist there. So if you've got any questions or you'd like him to do some work for you, bringing our idea to life. And so his business here, let me pull it up here. It is Hype Designs is his company. So reach out to him, talk to him. He'll bring your ideas to life. But that let's go. That's some stuff that we got coming out with some different ideas with the business. And then also we talked about being unscripted. And so we've got some other ideas for merch that Patrick's doing for us, bringing that to life. So thank you, Patrick, for that. Looking forward to being able to share that with you. But I'm excited because with Two Native Sons ended up creating a sponsorship program for what we're doing. So we do have our first sponsor lined up. Once we get things finalized, we'll bring them on to different platforms that we have, let them talk about their story, embrace the culture and the community that we're building. But excited because what we're able to do with the people that we know and the people that we collaborate with is allow these individuals that are becoming sponsors with us to have a very large platform. So Garrett's one of the individuals we're working with, utilizing his platform with his podcast to share this message of this individual. But excited because things are growing. Myself and Patrick, we've talked about different things. We've spoken on different things, and they're showing up. And it's one of these things that people have to understand that you can dream and have these dreams, but if you're not putting any actions behind it, it's not going to do anything. You're going to sit there and say, I want this, but I don't want to do any action. So it's not going to come to you. You've got to go, you got to dream, but you got to put action behind it. So excited for things that are taking place. And it's one of those things I was talking about when the audio wasn't working. So was with your dreams, you've got to share your dreams with people. Because if you have these audacious dreams, people will be attracted to what you're doing. They'll be magnetized. You'll become magnets. And so you got to share your dreams with people because how are you going to have people buy into what you're doing if you're not sharing your dreams because you're scared somebody's going to steal it? Cool, let them steal it. But you got to understand the thing that's going to separate you from everybody else is your story. And a lot of people don't want to share their story because they don't want to be vulnerable and transparent. And it's a scary thing because they don't want to be judged. But we're already judged 100% of the time. So how are you going to show up? And this is another avenue that you've got to be true to yourself. You got to show up unscripted. You got to be at that point where you don't care what people think. And so that's one of the things that as you're sharing your dreams, you're going to have individuals that will poo-poo on it. You're going to have people that will be like, that's impossible. It can't be done. You have people with limited beliefs. And so that's part of what the Two Native Sons for myself and Patrick is creating a Zafuji lifestyle. And that's a zero fucks given lifestyle where you've got to go after what you want. You can't worry about what other people think. You can't worry about the opinions of others because everybody's got opinions. How are you going to show up? How are you going to be fully present for yourself, regardless of what's happening? You're judged 100% of the time. And so a couple of things that really stick out here that kind of goes in line with this is an individual I follow, Trent Shelton. Two things that he had sent. One was forget their opinions, forget their judgments, forget their criticisms. Your greatness has nothing to do with how they feel about you. Don't let their lies change your truth. Don't let their hatred consume your soul. Keep allowing your confused supporters do what they do best. Hate on what they wish they were. And so you'll have a lot of people this crab in the bucket mentality where they're going to pull you down. They're going to say you can't do it because they're selling themselves short. So you got to be careful on that one. But you know what? We got to tear down this paradigm of don't tell people your dreams because somebody's going to steal it. No, screw that shit. Let them steal it. If they steal it, cool. Let's see who's going to make a better output, better service and whatnot at the end. So we can't worry about it, but you got to be mindful about how you're showing up. And then the other thing that he had sent out was settling leads to suffering. So make sure you choose the life you deserve, not settle for the life that doesn't deserve you. And so you got to look at it. How many of you are settling because you have these dreams, but you give up on them? Nothing's coming to fruition because you're not doing any action. You're telling people what you want and you get scared. You listen to freaking Uncle Bob down by the river. He's like, that ain't going to work. Okay, thanks, Uncle Bob. Or you get in your own head. And I constantly talk about punching your ego in the face. That may be something else that we talk about. But I'm at the point where you either love me or you hate me. There's no in between. So I'm not worried. So if you're at the point where you hate me, then you're not part of the mission. If you love me, jump on, let's go. But the funny thing is I was doing a podcast with Travis Brown. He's launching a new podcast, 20 Question Podcast. And we were talking about different quotes that really resonate with us. And that, for me, it's you can't be fearful to repel the few, because if you do that, you're going to miss out on attracting the many. He was talking about, he's like, either hold on or you're getting dragged. I was like, oh, man. So he was explaining that the idea with this is people are going to either hold on and be there with you, or they're going to get dragged because they're trying to pull you down, but they can't do it, and they're going to get dragged. So it's your choice. But it's one of those things that I was like, ooh, buddy, let's go. But that's the thing. It's one of the dreams and one of the visions that I see with Two Native Sons. And I tell people, impacting 1 billion people. And I did say 1 billion with a B, and then being a $1 billion empire. And so money is just energy. Money is just a vehicle. And if you have big dreams and big goals, you've got to have money. You can have hopes and dreams, but that's only going to get you so far. Money is going to be that vehicle and that energy to get you to where you want to go, to get you those dreams. And so we've got to look at money differently. But people have these beliefs with money, so can't do anything about it. But you've got to stick with your guns. You got to stick with what you're doing, because you're going to have individuals that will come and try to freaking derail you and do some crazy stuff. You got to stick with your guns. And it's not the easiest sometimes, and it's not the quickest sometimes, but you got to keep going. And that's where you may have to make pivots. But it is funny because the question that you need to ask yourself is, who are you becoming? And so what are you doing to attract those goals? What are you doing to attract the people that you need to have within you and your circle to achieve the big dreams? Because you have your how, or you have your why and what. The how is going to come, but that's where you start building your team. You start building your tribe. You start building your community, working together to achieve the how, figure out the how. And so this is a quote that was from Jim Rohn. And he was saying, if you want to have more, you have to become more. Success is not something you pursue. What you pursue will elude you. It can be like trying to chase butterflies. Success is something you attract by the person you become. And that's very powerful when you think about it. Success is an attraction piece. And so I was working with somebody, and they asked me what success would look like for myself. And for me, success ultimately is growing every day and understanding the impact that I'm making and putting forth the action that's going to allow me to achieve that impact that I want. But this is the thing I tell people. You can ask 1,000 people, what does success mean to you? And you're going to get 1,000 different answers. But if you ask, what is failure? You're going to get one answer. And so that's the thing. Like, everybody can have these different benchmarks for success, but you got to understand what your success looks like for you as an individual. It's nobody else. It is what it is for you. And so that's one of those things that you can't be scared to share that either. Let people know what your success looks like to you and whatnot, but some people don't want to do it for whatever reason. I don't know. It's one of those classes of, it's hard to think about what humans want and whatnot. But this all goes in regards to when you're sharing your goals and your dreams. You're going to have crazy individuals that will be like, you can't do it, because they see themselves as they can't do it. So they're going to put their limiting beliefs on you. This comes from The Buddha and the Badass. I highly suggest getting the book. I highly suggest reading it. But in here, Vashin was talking, and never, ever take on the disempowering beliefs of someone else. In fact, when you hear such a thing, correct them. Simply ask a question like, have you validated that belief with hard data science and study? Or is that a personal opinion clouded by fundamental attribution error and one's own childhood insecurities projecting a character trait onto someone else? And so you got to look at it, that these disempowering beliefs that somebody may be projecting, is that truth? Is that a fact, or is that an opinion? You've got to ask yourself that question. That's the same thing when you have these stupid thoughts that come into your head that are limiting beliefs. Is it a fact or is it an opinion? And so this is powerful because you got to understand that your thoughts are going to lead to feelings. Your feelings are going to lead to actions. Your actions are going to lead to results. And so if you are dreaming small, you're going to have small results. And then you're going to feel bad because you'll be like, man, I wanted bigger results. Well, how are you dreaming? How are you looking at the situation? And then with your actions, the results that are coming into play, that's a vicious cycle. So it's one of those things that your thoughts, you've got to dream big. But a lot of people don't want to do that because they're scared. They're like, what happens if I fail? Okay, what happens if you fail? How do you learn from that situation? How are you going to progress? How are you going to grow? So you've got to look at the situation differently. Failure is not a bad thing. Failure is where your progression takes place. Failure is where you really grow as a person and you end up becoming a better individual from failure. Celebration of the wins are great, but what can you win? What can you win from the win? What can you learn from the wins? There's going to be things there, but your challenges and your failures are more powerful because that's where you really grow and learn and whatnot. So it's one of those things that you got to understand that you are legitimately the only person that has your back 100% of the time. Everybody else that is in your life is there for seasons. Somebody may be there for your whole entire life. Some people may only be there for a month. Some people may only be there for a couple of years. But who truly has your back? And that's going to be yourself. And that's where you've got to be mindful about your mindset. You got to be mindful about how you're talking to yourself. Be mindful about the stories that you're telling yourself, because that can be very destructive because you are with yourself 100% of the time. And that can be very destructive. So any aha moments that you took out of this, share it. Love to hear what you took from this talk here. I know the first 13 minutes was blank. So people will be like, man, he's not talking. And so people may miss out, which is okay. Thanks for sticking it out and whatnot. But as I always say, if you've got something in your heart, your soul, your mind, your drive, and you just don't feel like there's anybody there to support you, or you just don't know who to reach out to me. If you feel like you've got something, but there's nobody to support you, reach out to me. Don't be scared. Don't hesitate. But in regards with the sponsorship aspect that I spoke of a little bit with 2NS, if you'd like more information on that, if you're curious on how that works, reach out to myself, Patrick. We'll share it with you, see if it's a good fit, see if you're the person that we're looking for, because we are looking for certain people. And so there are certain things that will be asked. There are certain questions that will be asked. And if it's a certain way that's answered and it doesn't vibe with us, then we're not bringing you on, because we're looking for certain levels of frequency, vibration, and we're looking for people that are dreaming big and whatnot. So, but like I said, if you'd like more information for that, reach out. But I am excited because we do have our first sponsor. Once we have everything finalized and whatnot, we'll bring them on. They can share their story, talk about it, what's going on, and just really bring them into the rural, raw, unscripted community that Patrick and I are creating. So other than that, we catch you guys later. Thank you for your time. Love you and peace.